God has helped you to have some. And when wealthy people realize the limited importance of money, they start giving it. You are sitting in the city of art of living. I have developed the concept of art of giving. So when you learn the art of giving, you become a happy person. So then the question is, did you earn for yourself? You are satisfied yourself, appreciate your society by giving. Nobody thinks about you. As well, it's very important whether you are interested to do something for the society. John F. Kennedy said, the first Nobel speech, not ask what country has done for you, ask what you have done for the country. The question is whether after earning money, having wealth, are you interested in giving to the people? If yes, please give. If not, then don't give. If you are happy in giving, then why are you giving to the world? So this is very small thing, as you can see, it's hard. Time is very short, only 10 minutes, so I cannot tell everything here. That's I would like to say that we have been working with many organizations, corporate sector, human undertakings. ONGC, Railway Corporation, SAIL, HSBC Bank, HDFC Bank, ITC, Tata Group, Private Company, DTI, LSI, GIC, BCS, BPCL, APCL, LNT, IOCL, NTPC, ADCO, GAIL, World Vision, Town Barlin, Mittal, AGCL, Abuja Cement, IRCTC, HTC, BPL, RBC, WAPOX, PGCL. So we are working already with the organizations in this industry. A lot of fun with them. And the State Bank of India has taken up one district, Alwar. All 3,000 secondary schools will have private facilities in the district. So the question is, two things are very important. Time is short, so I'm doing all these things. That you have to choose the area. Please don't repeat the same thing which is being done in the government sector. So better you just try to do, say, the area. Now, the percentages are anyway, now, now the question is, suppose the untouchables, the sanitation, the water, then widows in India, disabled persons, prostitutes, beggars, lepers. These are the areas not taken very seriously by the government. They take care what is not very seriously. So these are the areas where CSR should go more. There you are going to repeat the same thing with the government is already doing. So better choose the area. I have the figure for you. I just don't know where I kept it. So this is very important that these areas should take up. And also I said, don't do the same thing every year. So you take the area. Now we have 690 districts, 5,924 blocks, 6.6 villages. So the question is, you take up one area. You can concentrate for 5 years, 10 years, and then you can deliver goods. By doing something here, somewhere, there will not be able to deliver goods. So this is very important that you choose the area and also you choose the problems of the country and you concentrate for 10 years at least, and then you can give the results. This is my suggestion. Now I am coming to my own work that I have started. I want to to be a teacher in university, but finally I joined Gandhi City community and before Gandhi now. And from there I started. So India had problems, it still had problems of defecation in the open and manual cleanup as well. So we had to find out a solution. Sewer is not the answer. You must be knowing out of 7,935 towns, only 270 towns and cities have sewer system in 144 years. The first sewer was laid in Calcutta, it rolled out 1870. So by this technology, India could not have helped to end the practice of defecation in the open or manual cleaning. So I invented the technologies, and that technology now is the biggest old horizon being shown now. First stage already gone. That 5 discoveries have been saved the waters of the world, and one is Sula. So that is very important. How first thing was Gandhi himself said, till they clean night soil, nobody will have food with them. So first requirement was to have a flush toilet. And I developed the technologies. I go now to show you. I leave out because time is short, so there's not possible. Just see an open defecation and manual cleaning of night soil. Gandhi's constantly low. And this is the technology I developed. There are 2 bits, one is at a time, other is a crystal by. And after 2 years in the first one, it was I think immediate fertilizer, so spindles are not required. These are the designs. Then we see constructed the toilet by Delta Corporation. This is Punjab, then this is Jharkhand. Now just see the technology. Now you will not find any toilet in the world on the pits of which you can work. Just see on the pits forward, she's building fish, she's having food, sharpening grains and having soap also. So this is the technology which can have inside the house also. Now for the house you can have groundwater and high. Okay. So just whatever time is left, I just pass the slides, just see yourself. I want you to explain it. Public toilet. This is Kabul, Afghanistan. Temperature went down to about 30 degrees Celsius there. Very well. For children, this is biogas plant. You can use cooking for lighting, computer, street light. You can Kabul. See that. Rajiv Gandhi gave audience to our tools when they came from temple. Now we get education, vocational training, self-reliant. Now they go to same house to work when they do clean next soil. This acceptance level predicted. Go to temple. Now this is Ajmer Sharif in the church. Taking a bath. Yes, I think so. Even photography you must see. He may talk, it will be hours and hours. Okay, so thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you that we interact with a lot of civil society organizations. I think the doing in the sanitation sector in India, which is actually still deprived and should be focused upon one of the primary sectors in this country, CSR is something to think about. I want you all to please give a big round of applause to Dr. Pathak, being one of the most modest person on the planet to achieve that.
Thank you, panelists. We really tight for time, so 4:30 we need to break because 5 o'clock is the next session. You don't want to miss our coffee. If you see the way the day's programs have been building up, the morning session was on framework, then after that 2 or 3 sessions on the experience sharing, and then the last one I think is the most important, which is mandating CSR in India, which means it's already part of the law. You have to implement it. Failing to, there will be punishments. We just read that yesterday, Talwalkar, I don't know about it, Talwalkar MPs arrested for not paying service tax. These things never happened earlier, with litigation. So CSR is going to come into that sphere, that if you don't implement CSR, you go to jail. So that is the last session. Just to recap, before I open floor, I think the framework was set very nicely by Professor Bhattacharya in the morning. Just 3 or 4 points from his lecture in the morning. The first point I think he made was CSR should not be seen as charity by the target population. Something companies, be doling out. The second point is outcome is more important than input. 2% for a company like looking at the third quarter results, TCS or Reliance or Infosys, hundreds of crores. So that is not important that we spend hundreds of crores a year on CSR, but what was the outcome of that expenditure? That is the second point. Then the third point he made is CSR should be part of the core strategy of the company, not as a peripheral activity, okay, to fulfill a legal requirement or a social requirement, but it should be part of the core strategy, just as finance or manufacturing, bottom line, top line, and things. Then the last point he made was the 4 C's: commitment, communication, co-creation with stakeholders, calibration or evaluation of the work done. So that is the framework, and so now the floor is open. We can have a few questions addressed to either the specific panelists or the panel as a whole. And then I'll sum up a couple of minutes and we'll break by 2 minutes. Please go ahead. Just mention your name and go ahead.
So my name is Ishwar. I am CMD of Instrumentation Limited, Kota. It was a very grand presentation by Dr. Vijay Pathak. In fact, Sulabh has become a household name or a city old name, so many towns and cities in the country. Sir, actually you have started this revolution. Somehow it has not spread all over the country. I can see that because about a decade and a half back, I could see that it was all over. But now it is, it is sort of not there all over. Now I think this is an opportunity for all the corporates now in order to make it a very health conscious point of view. This can be taken up because still we see this problem of sanitation is widespread in India, and they can join hands with Sulabh and then take it, spread it totally across so that people, we should have a vision of having in India people not doing it alone.
Actually, you are right 100%. What happened? You can say mistake or right also. We have not taken grant, donation, charity, public, neither family or what happened, I started my work. And after work, I started saving money and the social work. So first work I got of 500 rupees, $10. Now we have got a work of 300 crores. We do the construction of toilets and houses, public toilets we maintain. We also build government house hospitals. Out of 300 crores, we get 25 crores. So 15 crores is spent on the welfare of the poor and downloaded. So now, what I am interested now, because of the limitation of the fund, I could not go ahead as you as said. Now we are planning that with CSR, we can go further. Right? Resource mobilization, monitoring, supervision with the corporate sector, private sector, and awareness, motivation, education, communication, estimation, designing, implementation, maintenance, follow. These will be NGO, irresponsible finance. So, if combined together, we could not ask for the NGO community. Honesty, integrity, ethics, and morality. Vision, mission, commitment, community. If neither combined, one mission, one life, then I have no reasons. Now, Supreme Court of India asked us to work for because you know who are the parties? The government of India and the people's government. And they are billionaires in this country. But Supreme Court named Sulabh that asked for Sulabh, Sulabh can help. Can you imagine? We see the declaration about this country, the highest court of India. So therefore, the NGOs should be selected on this basis. And I tell you with you, now we are planning to work with CSR and certainly we go after it.
Next question, yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm Nadim Wood, I'm from France. And currently visiting professor at IIT in Tamil Nadu. So I have one comment and two small questions. First, I'd like to congratulate you on the excellent presentations. My special thank to Dr. Vidinsh, because I think it's unfortunate you couldn't have more time to go in depth in your presentation, because I think this is a revolution in India. I have seen it all over India. This problem of sanitation is one of the biggest issues where the disparities between the have and have-not is increasing. Many people, for instance, in the 5 stars like this, they have a world-class, infrastructure, but in many places in India, which is, I think, the majority of India, they have nothing. And this is what you are doing is absolutely outstanding. And a small question for you, sir, how to make this, expand more in all India? Because I know that, you cannot do everything, because India is very large country. But I think, this kind of experience should be spread all over India, at least, like for instance, Amul, try to expand, the experience and the model of Amul so that other parts of India can benefit from it. So this is, I think, special things. Thank you very much for this presentation. I have two small questions because the topic was about the relationship between strategy and society. So I think, many people, they talk about strategy and value creation, something like that. But if you look at the reality itself, so many corporations have some kind of strategy that are very realistic, pragmatic, like cost reduction, cost strategy. And cost strategy is focusing on the short term. But the society is not focusing on the cost. It's on the value and the expectations of people. And the society is focusing on the long run, not on the short run. So how to make this compatible? This is my first question. My second question is, India, most of the businesses are SMEs. So we have been focusing on large companies. All the time the same companies, Tata, Infosys, Wipro, big companies, which are very rich companies. But 80%, maybe more than 80% of the corporation are SMEs. So what should be done for SMEs so to involve them in CSR activities, even if they are not rich enough? These are my questions. Thank you very much.
You're right. I have requested Government of India many times that they have to train youth boys on larger scale, and they could work as motivators. So, because they are not agreeing to, they are not doing. Entirely agree with you. One Sulabh cannot go everywhere. Only now we want to work as a mother NGO and to train NGOs in our country and to use up to date, and they could work as a motivator. They go house to house. In Sulabh we charge 15% for doing the work. I said to the government, the same amount which you give me to Sulabh, not me, Sulabh, why not give the same to these boys and girls? So they can earn their living and live in the area and work there. Apart from sanitation, they should train also in health, hygiene, yoga, and some medicines. And they can earn their living and live in the area. So strategy we are telling, they are not accepting my strategy. For me, they agree. Whatever I say, they agree. But for others, they don't agree. And this is a problem in this country. And therefore, programs is going on. But there are some ways, actually, entirely agree with you that here in India, in most of these states, 60% people have no lands. Only 40% people have. So we should train people as far as possible. And if somebody is there in politician side, I'm sorry for that. Just say, it's not my story, it's Mr. Khrushchev. When Khrushchev came to India, he asked, some journalist asked from him, who is the best politician? He said, the man who promises to build a bridge, and there is no river, is the best politician. So the question is, India has, most of the jobs have gone to private sector. And we say, I will give you reservation. You give 5 to her, 2 or 2. Question is, if you train them, I have got institutes of training, vocational training. 200 boys and girls passed every year. Now from 92, not a single boy and girl has come to me that one has got no plan. So what is needed in India? I entirely agree with you. The strategy, large scale training programs to the boys and girls, and they will find out jobs for themselves. But training should be adequate, otherwise not for training.
One last question.
I have just one point to make. He asked about the strategy society linkage. The very basic fundamental, how it works in a human genome, is that you create, by corporations tend to create disparity. It is believed, I don't believe in it, but it's a strong belief in mechanism, in the value chain mechanism, that when corporations work, they tend to absorb resources from the ground of all nature. And that in turn creates a disparity between the haves and the have-nots. So if, for example, as a corporation I can do something and enhance the purchasing power of the beneficiary of the society, of the consumer, and I can justify the same to the board, that may this activity in a relatively longer term of say about 5 or 6 years enhances the purchasing capacity of the consumer, which in turn helps me in sustaining my business, I have a greater reason and a rationale behind justifying to the board. That is what we have been doing. So one, and since Dr. Tija is here and she was talking about this violence, about violence against women, and a sanitation stalwart right next to me, it's my fortune today. You know, we carried out the central, there were 3 central Indian states which actually hired our services to carry out a survey, and it opened our eyes when we realized that, you know, we were called in to make a presentation on sanitation and how the total sanitation campaign, whether it has succeeded or failed in these states. And we were asked to make a presentation to the Ministry of Home in those states. So we got a shock and we asked, why Ministry of Home? Why are they concerned? Now one fact is, and this is for all CSRs who want to engage into constructive CSR, 69% of India's population do not have access to toilets. We got to realize that. So that is the fundamental, right? And especially for women. Now, the fact that I wanted to just say, 1 minute, is the fact that 70% of sexual abuse of rural women were happening when they were going for defecting to the fields. And therefore, investment on a toilet was not only a sanitation subject, but was a safety and security of the woman subject. So we got to think this is the dynamic nature of the the agendas that we have, and I hope it is addressed.
Unfortunately, we are out of time. I think those who have pressing questions should ask the panelists during the coffee break. And they will be served coffee here so that they don't run away. Possible, right? Okay, just to sum up, since I am a stand-in speaker, you won't find my bio in the book, so I have a 4-page bio to read out, not yesterday. Just like Prabdas, who was to come today, I am also an ex-IAS officer. After 32 years, I took PRS and joined the private sector. I now head a company called Nagarjuna Oil Corporation, which is building a petroleum refinery in Kadalur in Tamil Nadu. Prabdas is junior to be in the IAS, but senior to be in the oil industry because he has completed the refinery and is running the Hindustan Mittal refinery in Bathinda. So, couple of points just to sum up and leading to the next session. Why the word responsibility in the CSR? I don't know if anybody thought of it. Because corporates were generally assumed to be socially irresponsible. That is why the responsibility word is coming. The biggest example is our Bhopal gas tragedy, Union Carbide. You are supposed to work with the surrounding community, not kill 5,000 people, which is what they did in 1984. So, working with the community responsibly that's why the term is there. The second point is, even before it became law recently, CSR, the old approach was the old NCC, NSS approach. When we were in colleges in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you have to do 1 week of community service. You go and clean up some slums and teach slum kids how to count or ABCD and all that. Now that is no longer the CSR. If huge budgets are going in, you need to create assets. It is not just 1 week's, which is media coverage and things. So it is no longer the NCC NSS approach. The last point I want to make is that companies need to look at CSR as an investment rather than as an expenditure. We put money in FD or in share market. We don't consider that an expenditure. That's an investment on which we look for returns. So companies should look at CSR as investment. Then I'm sure most companies would spend much more than 2%, which is mandated. The last point leading to that is most of the companies represented here are not the large manufacturing, polluting companies like the one I am heading. With the new Land Acquisition Act, process industries with large chimneys and polluting, those are the ones which really need to look at CSR as a core activity. It is no longer a question of doing something by a society. With the current Land Acquisition Act and the various environmental, the green benches in the high courts, if you don't take the community into confidence, your project won't take off. And even if it takes off, your company can't run. So it is very much a core activity, which is what Professor Bhattacharya said. So that is where I would like to close this, and it leads to the next session, which is how it is to be mandated and build it into the main agenda of the company's boards. There is a subcommittee which has an independent director. All of those issues will be discussed in the next session. Thank you, panelists. Thanks for having us.
Environment and so I have a correlation here, healthy mind in a healthy body. So my question is, sports is also one of the arena which needs attention, so where corporate social responsibility can come into being, and corporates can we adopt kids in certain numbers in every area and promote them, and also build sports complex, something like tennis courts, football fields, not only in every nook and corner of the city but also in rural areas, and not make too many puns in commerce and footballers turning cooks and Naxalites, and even further reducing violence towards women, because sports again occupies the mind, playing for 4 or 5 hours, you won't have time for some other miscellaneous.
In the draft rules, sports is included as part of education, so it is very much covered. It is not out of the scope of CSR. Thank you.